All right, I greet you all. You are welcome to Mr. Ola James TV at Number Sentences. Today, we are briefly going to be looking at angles of elevation and depression. Angles of elevation and depression. Many students have gotten this concept misunderstood. But I believe after this class, you will be able to understand what angle of elevation is and what angle of depression is. All right, join me. What is angle of elevation? Before we start, you must know that if an eye like this is opened, it ought to be looking straight this way. If it has no business with any other object that you want to look at, it has to be looking straight. This is called horizontal line of sight. This is horizontal line of sight. The original level that an eye needs to focus on without any distraction. I believe you might have seen a soldier, especially when they are reciting the national anthem. They look straight this way. Okay, that is the horizontal level of sight. Now, if anyone is being asked to look either up or down or this or that, deviating from the horizontal level of sight, an angle is formed between the horizontal level of sight and the level of sight of an object. Level of sight of an object is when we have something like this. We have an eye like this that is actually looking at this rat. That is looking at this rat here. Now, initially, this eye was supposed to be looking straight like this, but it's been distracted to look at this object here. So that means an angle is formed here. And if it's to look at this bird that is flying, if you happen to look at this bird that is flying like this, also an angle is formed from the horizontal level of sight, horizontal line. Then this is what the line of sight of the object, the line of sight of the object, the line of sight of the object, and this is what horizontal line of sight. Let us know that first. You meant to be looking straight, you are distracted to look, or deliberately you look up, you look down. Now, what is angle of elevation? Angle of elevation. Now, this is an angle that is formed when an observer looked up, let's say upward, at an object. An angle of elevation. This is an angle that is formed when an observer looked upward at an object. The angle is formed between the horizontal line of sight and the line of sight of object above the observer. Above the observer. Above the observer. Get that? I said the angle is formed between the horizontal line of sight and the line of sight of the object above the observer. For instance, let us assume that this is a man. Because we are interested in the eyes of the man, you will see me, I will always draw the eye like this, and it is meant to look straight like this, and that is what? Horizontal line of sight. But he looked at the ball that had been kicked by a boy flying towards the net. He looked at the ball this way. Now, an angle is formed between this. This is line of sight of a ball. Line of sight of a ball. So, this angle is formed here. That is angle of elevation. This is angle of elevation that is formed there. Anytime an angle is formed between the horizontal line of sight and line of sight of an object above the observer. Look at the observer here. This is the observer here. And look at it. The ball is above it. So it's always elevation. You know, elevation takes you up. When you elevate, they say you have gone up. Like elevator. Elevator takes us up there. So that is elevation, line of elevation. When you look above, when you look at something that is higher than you. Okay, let's look at it now. This is another one. A flag. A flagpole like this. This is a flag. And a boy here looked at the top of the flag this way, and this is the horizontal level of sight. So the angle here is what? Is angle of elevation. Angle of elevation. Let's write it here. Angle of elevation. So this is angle of elevation that is formed here. Why? Because the boy is actually looking up. He's looking up. Anytime you are looking up, then you form an angle between the horizontal line of sight and the line of sight of the object. And that is what we have just gotten, angle of elevation. Now, let us explain the angle of depression. Angle of depression. This is the angle formed when an observer looked downward at an object. Well, the object I'm referring to here may be somebody, may also be somebody, maybe a car, maybe rats, maybe ball, maybe anything. As soon as you look at the something in the object, you are the subject. Okay, now this angle is formed when an observer looks downward. This word downward, please. Downward. The other one will say upward. That means this object, the observer must be taller than the object, must be at the position that is higher, as in tall, than the object. You must be taller than the object. Now look at it. If this is a story building, let's call it 4-story building, and one of the window here, a boy is looking down at the father's car. Look at the father's car. The father just arrived from the office, and the boy looked at the father's car this way. But this is his own level of sight. This is the horizontal line of sight. But look at it. He has refused to look straight. This boy is not as tall as this, but because he has entered into this house, then he's at the last floor here, and he peeped through the window. He peeped through the window to look at his father's car. Probably, he heard the honking of the car. The car was honking, and he heard it, and he peeped to see, is that not my father? Now, he has formed an angle between the line of sight of the car, and the angle is here. Class, the angle is not here. The angle is here. It's between the horizontal line of sight and the line of sight of the object. The object here now is car. Look at it. So this is angle of depression. I said the observer, which is the boy here, must be in a position that is higher than the car, that is taller than the car. The height must be far above the height of the observed. So he's observing the car. The observer, he must be taller than the observed. So this is the angle of elevation, or of depression rather. So we must take note how this thing is. For many students, we take this as angle of depression. No, that is not the angle of depression. This is the angle of depression, the angle formed by the horizontal line of sight and the line of sight of the car below the observer. That is angle of elevation and angle of depression. Something is amazing. In a single scenario, where we have the angle of elevation and the angle of depression, probably a boy here has walked up to his friend's place. He needs to collect his note, but the gate of the house is locked, and the boy shifts backward from the gate so that he can actually see the building. Look at the building here. This is the building. We have so many floors there. So many floors. The first floor, the third floor, the fifth floor. And luckily for the boy, or unfortunately, the boy is on the second to the last floor. The boy is there. And he shouted. When he shouted, the boy looked through the window. Then he is also looking at the boy. The boy is looking at him. Now, this boy's line of sight is this, and his own line of sight also is this, but they are both looking at each other to communicate. Hey, friend, my textbook is with you. Bring it down. And the boy is looking down to his friend outside the gate. The friend is looking at him too at the top of the house. So this is the angle of depression. Why? He's looking downward. He's taller than the observed. He is the one observing this one. So in the first scenario, this is the observer. This is the observed. So he's below him. So this is angle of depression. Let's call it theta. That is angle. Let's call it alpha. Angle of depression. That is angle of depression. Likewise, the friend is looking at his friend too. He has gone to their house, so he's looking at him. Where is my textbook? You took it and you forgot to return it back to me. Oh, wait for me, I'm coming. They are communicating. They are actually seeing each other. So this guy here is also looking at him. He's looking at him through angle theta. and that is angle of elevation. Angle of elevation. I believe you know why it is angle of elevation, because it's actually shorter than what he's looking at. What he's looking at is above him. He's looking upward. He's looking upward. He elevated his eyes to look. This one depressed his eye. Look down. Depressed. Look down. You know, say, somebody is down. That means he's depressed. But we will not be depressed in Jesus' name. Now, he looked down to him. He's looking at him. He is looking at him too. So the one in the house form angle of what? Depression. And the one at the top form angle of what? Elevation. As a single scenario like this, alpha is equals to theta. That means angle of depression is equal to angle of elevation. At a single scenario. I am not saying that when I'm looking at my my picture on the wall in my room like this, and my son too is looking at a dog that has climbed to the roof of the house, that the angle of depression of the dog looking at my son and my own angle of elevation, no, we are not performing the same thing. Their own scenario is different from my own scenario. Their sin is not my sin. So he and the dog are performing the same. The dog may be looking at him too as he's looking at the boy. So the dog is forming angle of depression with him, and he is forming angle of elevation with the boy. That is a single scenario. So that is it. So here, angle of elevation is equal to angle of depression, and angle of depression is equal to angle of elevation in a single scenario. So we should know that. That is, I am saying that if angle of depression here is 52, therefore angle of elevation here is also 52. All right, that is it. Angle of depression in a single scenario is equal to the angle of elevation. Watch for the part 2 of this lesson, when we will be dealing with calculation involving angle of elevation and angle of depression. Keep watching us, like our video, comment on it, ask questions. We are there to answer you. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed. God bless you. Love you. And even if the girl like to get the food,